A few weeks ago, I had a consultation with someone that had been trying to get leaner for years. They had tried keto, intermittent fasting. They even hired a nutrition coach to teach them about proper nutrition. But none of it had worked. And when I asked them what they felt was missing, here's what they said. They said, I don't know what I'm actually supposed to be doing or why. And that's the problem I see the most often. Not a lack of effort, not a bad diet, just a lack of understanding around a few small fundamentals that once you understand them, make everything else so much more straightforward. And that's what this video is about. I'm gonna walk you through the exact framework that I use with my nutrition clients that's gonna show you exactly what you should be eating each and every day. It comes down to 3 steps. Let's start with the foundation. I'm gonna be direct here. Protein is the most important nutrient that most people need to be eating more of to improve their body composition, to gain muscle, and to lose fat. And the majority of people are not getting enough of it, not even close. Which is why if you build the habit of eating protein each and every time you eat, you're going to see results and your nutrition is going to improve. So if you're eating 3 or 4 times a day, you gotta shoot for eating 20 to 40 grams of protein at each one of those meals. And when you do that, you're gonna land in the right total amount of protein that you should be eating over the course of the day. What does 20 to 40 grams of protein look like at a meal? It can be as simple as having a breakfast with Greek yogurt and half a cup of scrambled egg whites, a salad at lunch with a chicken breast and chickpeas, a protein shake for a snack, and chicken stir fry for dinner with edamame beans, which will give you a total amount of protein around 130 grams. And for most people, nailing this behavior of eating protein at each and every meal is gonna allow them to hit a daily total protein target at around 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, which is gonna be the optimal range for what you need to be consuming to improve your body composition. And then what we tend to see, both in the research world, but also in coaching practice, is that this optimal range of protein holds up for a variety of people at different ages, men, women, different goals. It's helpful for just about everyone. But even if a lot of people know that they need to be eating more protein, it's this execution step in doing it at each and every meal that's the most important thing. Think about it this way. Let me take you back to high school when you needed to complete your homework. If you left all of your homework until the very last second at night, you'd have a very low chance of being able to complete it. But if you started your homework and got most of it done in a consistent, repeatable way after school, you'd be more likely to complete it, which is what we're doing by eating protein at breakfast and at lunch and a snack and at dinner every time you eat. You're breaking it up and making it more likely that you'll complete your homework. Now, what protein does that makes it so important is that it's gonna help you build and repair muscle tissue, significantly improve your satiety, which means you're going to be fuller for longer, as well as, and this is really important when it comes to fat loss, it's gonna allow you to spare the muscle mass that you already have while you're on a calorie deficit. That last point is the one point that most people tend to underestimate. If you cut calories, but you don't selectively eat more protein, you don't just lose body fat. You lose both fat and muscle, which is the exact opposite of what you're trying to achieve. After years of doing this, I have come across a lot of people that have significantly lost a bunch of weight, but their body composition didn't really change. They just became a smaller version of themselves. And when I took a step back and started to assess and study what they were eating, the same pattern always emerged. Calories too low, protein too low, and a bunch of muscle being lost alongside fat. And when I started to rewrite their nutrition plans around more calories and a lot more protein, they started seeing dramatic changes in their body composition, even if the scale didn't move all that much. Protein first and at every meal. Now let's move on to step 2. Include vegetables and fruit daily, ideally every time you eat. All right, I know this advice is boring, but in my experience, it's one of those practical suggestions that makes everything easier, especially for anyone that struggles with hunger while being on a fat loss plan, which is many of us. When you eat more fruits and vegetables, the physical volume of food is going to allow you to stay fuller for longer, because it's that physical weight that your body senses to signal that feeling of fullness, which is really important. That signal is not just the same as the calorie content of food, which is important, but it's not the same thing. And it becomes more and more important, especially as you're trying to lose fat and you gotta manage your total amount of calories, because if you can eat more total food mass for not a lot of calories, you're gonna see better results and you're gonna be able to stick to your diet for longer. I've had many fat loss clients be able to eat massive meals, almost like a kilogram of food while still staying in a calorie deficit. Whereas other clients, they could eat 600 calories of calorie dense food relatively quickly and feel like they didn't even eat anything at all. The difference is in the calorie density of the foods that you're eating. So foods that are high in water, fiber, and sometimes protein content, vegetables, fruit, certain grains, they take up a lot of space. They have a lot of water content for not a lot of calories, and therefore they help with fullness, especially on a per calorie basis, compared to foods that are higher in fat and lower in water. So eating more fruits and vegetables, especially at each and every meal, is gonna provide more satiety per calorie compared to other food choices. So when you start to build each meal around a protein source, and then add in fruits and vegetables alongside it, you've already done most of the work. You're eating more, you're feeling satisfied, and you're naturally managing your food intake without needing to restrict anything or, cancel anything out or eliminate it entirely. You're adding food in instead of subtracting. Now, what I'm suggesting here is not that you only eat salads, but you need to understand that hunger isn't just a calorie problem. It's a volume problem. And when you start to build your meals around higher volume foods like fruits and vegetables, you can eat more total food overall, feel more satisfied, and still fit within whatever caloric range supports your goals. Which brings us to step 3. And so far we've covered building your meals around including protein, including fruits and vegetables. Step 3 is not to cut any foods out. I want to spend a moment on this step because I think a lot of the noise online has caused a lot of confusion around what's right and what's wrong with your nutrition. When it comes to nutrition, for whatever reason, there always has to be a villain. We've had periods of time where everything needed to be low fat, only to swing in the complete opposite direction and everything being low carb. And honestly, it's not just this period of time or the online world. There's been best-selling books, documentaries, and entire coaching philosophies built around eliminating certain foods or casting a villain on a certain nutrient. But here's what the scientific evidence shows when it comes to nutrition and fat loss. From a physiological standpoint, neither dietary carbohydrates or dietary fat in isolation cause you to gain fat. An excess of calories from the total amount of food that you're eating, that's what causes fat gain. So the question really isn't what foods to cut or what specific foods to eliminate. It's how much of everything you're eating relative to the total amount of calories you're burning. Your overall calorie intake is the single variable that determines if your body's in a state of building up new tissue or breaking it down. If your goal is to build more muscle, you'd be smart to add in a little bit more calories than you need in order to build up that new tissue. A really moderate surplus, around 100 to 300 calories above your maintenance levels, is usually good for most people. And if your goal is losing fat, a modest deficit of 100 to 300 calories below maintenance levels is usually sustainable enough that most people can adhere to it while seeing the results that they desire. And if your goal is to do both, a target of around maintenance with heavy lifting and eating enough protein is going to be doing most of the work. Now, both carbohydrates and fat serve important functions in your body. Carbohydrates are your body's preferred energy source, especially when it comes to high intensity training, whereas dietary fat is really important for the production of new hormones as well as absorbing vitamins, just to name a few things. Now, how you distribute your calories between carbohydrates and fat should come down to personal preference, your training demands, and what allows you to stay consistent. In more rigid dietary approaches, like cutting out entire food groups to get there, produce worse long-term outcomes when compared to more flexible ones. And this is a pattern I see all the time. Someone gets really motivated, and for 2 to 3 weeks, they're really dialed in, and they decide they're really gonna bring their carbs down. And they can stick with it for a period of time, but then something happens. A birthday party or a weekend away, and then they eat outside of their plan, And since everything was so rigid or binary to begin with, that one meal or that one deviation becomes the reason they abandon their entire plan, and they end up in a worse position than where they were before. What we see in the real world is that a nutrition plan that you can follow 85% of the time for months, let's talk about 6 months, is always going to outperform something that you can follow perfectly for just a few weeks. Don't cut foods out. Learn what the total amount of food looks like for your goals and start to build flexibility in from the start. Most people that struggle to follow their nutrition plan start to blame it on discipline or motivation. But what I've noticed after working with thousands of nutrition clients is that this isn't a motivation thing, it's a systems problem. And when you have the exact steps to follow within your day-to-day life, the friction or resistance to following the plan, it starts to come down. And therefore, you're able to stick with your plan for a lot longer. If your environment makes the less healthy option the easy or default option, you're gonna take that option, especially if you're tired or stressed or don't know what to do. Not because you're not motivated, but that's how decision making works, especially when you're under pressure. So if you're gonna start to build your meals around consuming 20 to 40 grams of protein, reduce the friction by starting to batch cook protein at the beginning of each and every week, keeping high volume foods in your fridge at eye level so they're quicker and easy to access, maybe even get them more prepared, and maybe even have a simple default meal that takes you less than 10 minutes to prepare that you could have on hand to work into your plan so that you consume that on difficult days instead of defaulting to whatever's convenient. And then be kind to yourself. Each meal is an opportunity to make a good decision and improve your health. And the previous one doesn't need to determine what the next meal looks like. That shift in framing and mindset alone is gonna allow you to respond to some of those days where you're a little bit less than perfect. Healthy eating does not need to feel like punishment, especially when you have the right plan in place. So remember this, step 1, each and every meal, make sure you're including 20 to 40 grams of protein. Include fruits and vegetables daily, ideally at each and every meal. And this is gonna allow you to manage your hunger through eating more food volume. And don't cut foods out. Learn to manage the total amount of food you need to eat and stay flexible enough that you actually do it long term. And that's a framework for what you need to eat each and every day. Now, none of this is complicated, none of this is new, but consistently applying that over time is what is going to allow you to get the best results and keep them. And if you enjoyed this video, you're gonna love the video I've linked up right here. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to lose fat without losing muscle. I'm gonna give you all the simple strategies and tips you need to do that. You're gonna learn all about that in the video right here. So check it out now, and I'll see you in the next video.